Hey everybody, Swonic here, and today we're going to be looking at Pokemon protagonists from Gens 1 to 9 and figure out who is the very best like no one ever was. To do this, I'll be going over each of the protagonists' canon feats to determine which of them are the strongest. Let's get started. Okay, to start off, we'll be going from the weakest to strongest, and on the lowest ranking, it's Red. Yeah, time to take off your nostalgia glasses, Gen 1ers, and wake up to reality. Red sucks! He gets beat up by not one, not two, but 3 protagonists. Although I'm a bit iffy on the canonicity on the second one. But he defeated Team Rocket. Oh yeah, Team Rocket, what a huge threat they are. What have they ever done? Steal Pokemon for money? Big whoop. Do you know what other teams after them have done? They've threatened to destroy the region, the planet, the entire universe. Oh yeah, Team Rocket's the one we should be worried about. They're full of idiots. There's nothing behind this poster. Their leader isn't any better. Giovanni is the 8th and strongest gym leader in the region, and yet we keep beating him up every time despite the fact that we haven't earned 7 badges at those points. Logically, we shouldn't be able to keep up with him at those times. But, he managed to complete the Pokédex and catch the legendary birds in Mewtwo. Mewtwo! The strongest Pokemon of all time! Did he really? Did he really catch the legendary birds and Mewtwo? How come we still fight him again in Gen 2? Granted, that could be for gameplay purposes, but still. Whenever you fight legendary Pokemon, the story continues no matter what the result of the battle is. Either you beat them, run away, or catch them, making it ambiguous to whether you caught them canonically or not. But it wasn't until Gen 5 where it is compulsory for you to catch the legendary Pokemon because the story demands it. Even if you defeat them and run away, they just keep respawning, and the game will never progress unless you catch them. Nothing happens if you catch the Gen 1 legendaries. It doesn't unlock any new content or new bits of story. Whether you catch them or not, the game just goes on as if nothing happens. Okay, but let's say for argument's sake, Red did catch legendary Pokemon. How strong are they? Unfortunately, none of the legendary birds' Pokédex entries mention any great power feats. Articuno's Dex entries just mention how it lives in snowy mountains and how it can freeze the air around it. Okay, how far does its freezing radius go? Can Articuno freeze the air 10 miles around it? How cold can it get? No? You're not gonna specify? Okay then. Zapdos just say that it lives in thunderclouds and can control electricity. So it looks for thunderclouds and lives in them. It doesn't create or control them. Although the Let's Go Dex entry does say that Zapdos appears when it is cloudy and thundering. So I guess it has weather manipulation abilities? I think. The wording of this is not very clear. Even if it does, how big are these thunderstorms? Can it engulf an entire city in thunder or lightning? Moltres just says that it can control fire and that it heals itself by dunking itself in volcanoes. Does it mention how powerful its fire is? Can it melt boulders like Charizard? Not gonna say? Okay. And Mewtwo. All of its Dex entries just mention how it was created by science to be a living weapon and it has a savage heart. At least the Let's Go Dex entries have at least 3 power feats. Mega Mewtwo X has a grip strength of 3 tons and can sprint 100 meters in 2 seconds flat. That's 180 kilometers an hour. Machamp, however, can lift up a mountain with 1 arm and can throw 1,000 punches in 2 seconds. To do that, it must be punching its speeds faster than sound. So Machamp is canonically faster and stronger than a Mega Evolved Mewtwo, and it has a type disadvantage. Mega Mewtwo Y can destroy a skyscraper. Cool! A single Electivire can power up an entire city for about a year. And those are just ordinary Pokemon. So yeah, Mewtwo isn't the strongest as much as you wish that it was, and so is Red. Okay, that's enough of my anti-Gen 1 rant, let's get on with this list. The second on this list is Ethan. He's basically a Red 2.0. He does exactly the same thing Red does, but better. He earns 16 badges, defeats Team Rocket, permanently this time, and he canonically beats Red at Mount Silver. I won't count him beating out Lugia or Ho-Oh or catching Suicune as notable feats of his, because again, the canonicity of these are dodgy. The game goes on whether you run away, catch them, or defeat them. Which is too bad, because while Ho-Oh and Suicune don't have any notable power feats in their Dex entries, other than Divine Resurrection or Purifying Lakes, Lugia's Dex entry mentions how it can create a 40-day storm just by flapping its wings. That's a month and a half. Up next is Lucas. Unfortunately, Lucas doesn't have any impressive feats, other than defeating the Sinnoh League. I cannot count his battles against the Creation Trio as canon because the plot continues no matter what the result is. Cynthia does mention you battled Giratina, but again, we don't know how that battle ended. If he either caught it, beat it, or ran. If I were to count beating the Creation Trio as a canon feat, then Lucas would be a universe level threat. Next on the list is Florian. His canon feats are beating Professor Turo/Sada and an army of Paradox Pokemon, beating up the Loyal 3 and catching Ogerpon, catching Terrapagos after his power overloaded, and catching Pecharunt. Florian has defeated and caught a lot of legendary Pokemon in his career, but the reason I ranked him so low alongside Lucas, Ethan, and Red is because I don't think the legendary Pokemon that he's beaten are very strong. Koraidon can split the land with its bare fists. Okay, how far do these cracks go? How deep can they get? We at least know that Koraidon can jump 6 to 5 feet in the air. Can it? Miraidon can burn the ground to ashes with his lightning. So, how far can that go? Okidogi can pulverize anything. Really? How strong is it? Can it pulverize a boulder twice its size? Munkidori has future foresight that can induce dizziness. Can he cause dizziness to an entire army? Serendipity just looks hot. How's that useful in the battle? Petra can subjugate an entire town to its servitude. That's if the person is stupid enough to eat its mochi. It only does that because it's weak on its own. None of Ogerpon's deck entries mention any sort of power feats, but its cornerstone mask does mention how it can take hits. So, can it take a car crash to the face? Chespin on its own can take a truck crash and survive. Although Ogerpon does have one notable feat, it killed 3 legendary Pokemon and beat up 1 mythical all at once, even with a type disadvantage. But then again, it's not like the Loyal 3 have any notable displays of power. Even Terrapagos, its power overloaded and needed to be stopped, but do they ever mention how big of a threat it could have been? Was it gonna destroy the entire region, or just the cave that they were in? I would have ranked Florian higher, but the power of the legendary Pokemon that he's beaten are either too unclear or not very high. Hilbert is next on our countdown. The best thing he's ever done is catch either Zekrom or Reshiram, and fought Ed in the climactic battle for the liberation of Pokemon. According to the Pokédex, the 2 dragons are capable of scorching the world in fire and lightning. Now let's talk about Callum. His best feat is canonically catching either Yveltal or Xerneas, 2 beings that bring life and death. In the movie, Yveltal was able to kill off an entire forest, while Xerneas was able to restore it. But Lysandre was about to use the ultimate weapon to destroy all life on the planet, and he needed Xerneas and Yveltal to power the weapon like batteries. The fact that he needed them to destroy their planet, we could assume that their power is planet level. Nate's next. Just like Ethan, he's basically at Hilbert 2.0. He does exactly what Hilbert does, but better. He's beaten Team Plasma, permanently this time, and he's beaten Kyurem. A fused Kyurem at that. Kyurem on its own already has power that exceeds beyond Zekrom and Reshiram, who, I remind you, are already planet busters. So just imagine how much more powerful Kyurem is when fused with them. Now we have Brandon. One of the legendaries he's caught is either Latias or Latios. While Latias doesn't have any mention of its level of power, we at least do know that Latios can fly faster than jet planes, which have an average speed of Mach 2. And let's not forget that these 2 can Mega Evolve. Unfortunately, their Mega forms don't have any mentions of their power or dex entries, so we don't know how powerful they are. If the movies were to be believed, it takes both of them to take out a tsunami. Although the story continues whether you catch, beat, or run away from Groudon and Kyogre, we do know that he canonically catches Rayquaza as the story demands it. Groudon and Kyogre are already planet busters in their primal forms, and base form Rayquaza was still able to beat them. So just imagine how much more powerful its Mega Form is. In its Mega Form, we've seen it destroy a meteorite that would have destroyed the planet. Victor's here. One of the legendaries he's caught canonically is Eternatus, who was about to destroy the Galar region. Although he didn't do it alone. He needed help from Hop, Zacian, and Zamazenta. But then again, he did catch either of those two in the end. It is mentioned that Eternatus has infinite power, but I'm a bit iffy on that claim. If it does have infinite power, how is it beaten? Twice? And was it mentioned that it would have destroyed the planet? Even Zacian and Zamazenta don't have anything that suggests that they could bust a planet. But then again, region busting is still pretty impressive. It's just not as cool as our previous entries. Victor also canonically catches an Urshifu. Sure, it's not destroying a mountain or anything, but it can still beat up Dynamax Pokemon with ease. In its Gigantamax form, while Zacian and Zamazenta don't need a power boost like Dynamax in order to keep up with Dynamax Pokemon, they're already powerful on their own. Victor also catches the legendary Golems, which include powerhouses like Regieleki, who can power up an entire region. Regidrago, who has the powers of every dragon type ever. Really? Do you have the powers of Dialga and Palkia, the two beings who are integral to the fabric of the universe? Catching Regigigas is also pretty impressive, considering that this Pokemon was said to have towed continents of ropes. Those are very high quality ropes if you ask me. But then again, slow start. It must have been much easier than you'd think. The Galarian birds are also another set of legendaries Victor has caught. Articuno can freeze you with a stare, and has enough power to tear through thick iron sheets like paper. So, how thick are we talking? Zapdos can run 180 miles per hour and can smash a dump truck. And Moltres can destroy a spirit. Cool, I guess. Calyrex is another legendary that Victor has caught, alongside Glastrier and Spectrier. Glastrier's ice is 100 times harder than Diamond's, and Spectrier can separate your soul from your body by kicking you. And Calyrex, apparently it can move entire forests and the Pokemon living in it, although we don't know what this forest is as there is no named forest in the Crown Tundra, and we also don't know how big this forest was. We also mentioned how it once saved the Crown Tundra from a meteorite, but then again, we don't know how it did it. Did it punch it with its bare hands, or did it use its telekinesis to stop it in its tracks? We also don't know how big this meteorite was. As Ice Rider, however, it can freeze anything 500 degrees below zero so that it can smash any obstacle in its way, and that its glacial lance can smash through mountains. Shadow Rider can rain down will-o-wisps like meteor showers, and can create black holes that suck up life force. And finally, the last legendary that Victor captured is Necrozma, a monster that roams the multiverse, draining entire universes of their light. Although, Victor only beat it in its weakest form, as Gen 8 got rid of its Ultra form. That honor goes to our next entry. Elio. He has also beaten Necrozma, but unlike Victor, he was able to beat it in its full multiversal power. And that's pretty much everything you can say about Elio. He doesn't have anything else. And our last entry on our list, and the most powerful protagonist as of Gen 9, it's Ray. He was able to literally catch all Pokemon in Hisui, and that includes legendary Pokemon like the Creation Trio, the beings who gave the universe time, space, and antimatter. And let's not forget, he also caught Arceus, the creator god himself. While that is the most impressive feat on this list, this however is only a small fragment of his true self. We don't exactly know how much power this avatar has. And that's it. That's all the Pokemon protagonists and how strong they are. If you have any suggestions about this list, leave them in the comments below. Or we could discuss them together, live, in my Discord, in the description below. Alright, see ya!